Jarosz. I'm an experienced designer at ThoughtWorks. We are a software and digital product consultancy. So we go to you and build your product on site. We do a lot of Agile. We're really well known for Agile development. Recently, we've reignited our practice to have a much stronger focus on the end user through lean principles. So here at ThoughtWorks, we learn by doing. We're not so great about planting a flag in and defining lean UX up front. We're more about, oh, that's a great idea, let's go chase it down and try it, and we're really lucky to have a client base that usually agrees with us. What we believe lean actually is going to market as quickly as possible to allow for strategic business pivots so that we can find the directions that are working and aren't working so that we can change while we're building the product. So before we embark on this journey, we actually start each project with a collaborative workshop. We call these inceptions. And what we do is we get our clients and delivery team in the room, and we start with the two things we need to do every type of engagement this way: an idea and a hypothesis. And what happens is during the workshop, we'll determine our target customers, our research strategy, our pivot-friendly technical architecture, and the minimum viable product. We'll hammer this out in a really quick amount of time so that we can get to market as soon as possible with our ideas. So when we're researching, we keep to a basic guideline typically, which we actually borrow from Steve Krug, of 3 people, 30 minutes each, once a week. And the research methods that we use will change as we develop the product over time organically. In the beginning, we'll do investigative research, such as interviews, contextual inquiries, and shadowing actual end users, or what we like to call real customers. When we're not researching, we're informing the hypothesis and design that week. And that's until we get our first lo-fi build from the product team. And then we'll shift gears a little bit and adjust the research to go out. We'll start doing immediate build testing once a week with whatever we have. And everyone is responsible for getting the weekly build in front of a person every week. And that's where we enter kind of our exploration phase. This is a phase where we focus on business value. And what we're really doing is saying, how good is your idea? Is it working? We can determine that while we're building the product and before you release to market, by going to market early with lots of research methods. Once we've hit a home run with the client base, we'll start to put in the details and the tweaks that make the product really great. Here's where usability gets the most attention from us. And then what's important to take away from this is that we're building product. We only have one deliverable as consultants who go in to actually build stuff. We only have to deliver product. We don't have to deliver personas. We don't have to do wiki knowledge collections. We have to deliver something that's done in like 6 months worth of time, and it better be good. And that's really the only thing we're held to. And we get to do this really quickly thanks to Agile. And so pairing with Agile is what really gives us a chance to do the market feedback. And so we use this by taking a lot of different ways from Agile to really impact lean and make lean worth its while. So it's more than just market feedback. To really make an impact with this process, we combine it with Agile to get the most out of it. Some of the ways we do this are working without silos. No one is safe. It's a matter of time before I grab you from the development team and take you with me to go on the street and find out if you blew the build this week to the user, not necessarily your code base. So even the developers run outside and around the block with me to see how good their stuff actually is this week. It's very exciting. It gets everyone energized, and everyone gets to see that the market has once again blown up their product each and every week. We learn something, we adjust, and we move on. It keeps the knowledge shared. The designer is no longer responsible just for knowing what the customer is. It's everyone's responsibility on the product team to pitch in and know what's going on. It increases our collaboration, and now everyone on the team is an expert on the customer. We foster more innovation this way. No one knows how to better technically innovate than a developer. And typically they've been very far downstream and too late to be able to change something architecturally. With this way of doing things, we're able to come up with equal technical innovations, and it's not all on the backs of the designer. Next, we use sketch to code. And we do this as often as possible. This is really our secret sauce to getting stuff out the door really quickly. We pair designers and developers. One of us has a whiteboard, and we will make the interface that day, sitting next to each other, building it together, learning from each other, and then that way no one gets to play cop out later and say I didn't understand the Agile story. Part of why we see this as so important is that we really value our time. Whenever we have to do something that's not product, we'll do it in a really fast and collaborative method that kind of crowdsources it amongst a team. Here's an example of us doing a knowledge base, and it's one of the few artifacts we might use. On the left here, you'll see an evolution wall, and what this is printouts of things from the initial MVP sketch all the way up to what does the build look like 6 months later. This is one of those intangible things that you always like to try and explain to clients, like I have to go inform the design and you have to let me go outside and do this. This is one of those things that helps to make it public to the client. It is such a big deal when they see their sketches turn into something real. It's really exciting, and everyone gets to see where the research they've learned over time is actually put into. To the right is what we call the research wall. And I don't know, I created this in like 10 minutes. It was my first project. I saw the Agile card wall and said, oh wow, this could work really great for other stuff too. What we do is we take the idea and or hypothesis, depending on how you've written it on your Post-it. It goes in the card wall and you track your business pivot based on the informed market research you've gotten this week. And you watch it move through a card wall in silos we've created on the wall, and watch it be integrated into the product, and then watch the feedback come back from that. And it's just very exciting. The clients really like this a lot, for lots of different reasons. It's one more way to show that intangible stuff that's really important, that typically doesn't have a deliverable, so it's kind of hard to say, well, this is really essential, but we can't show it to you because it exists in our brain. The client is able to strategically pick the innovation idea or hypothesis they want to try in the market that week and get it into the product and see what happens and track it. It's a lot of fun. Everyone is responsible for this too. So you go up and you put your idea on as a developer and it gets processed through the product at one point or another. It's kind of like our idea backlog. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback from clients so far, and we know that this approach makes us incredibly fast. And when coupled with lean principles, we're able to simultaneously validate and find new business opportunities for the client while we're learning. Research is so much more than usability testing. How many times have you done a usability test and learned, wow, it would be really cool to try this, but I can't because I'm too downstream of the product design? We don't do that. If we find that out, it's in next week, or it's in the idea backlog, and it's going to get processed at some point. And by having a collaborative team that knows what's going on, we're all able to make an informed product choice. So again, it's not on the back of the UX guy. You're not solely responsible for all this stuff and maintaining these details that happens over the course of a couple months. The developer is equally as informed as I am, and so they are just as much on the line. It also allows us to do things like take a vacation during the launch, because other people know what's going on, and it just is there in your brain. So our approach isn't really for everyone. It doesn't work for every type of business model. This works for the business model when you truly want a disruptive product in the market. It works really well for a lot of startups, for a lot of internal startups, for a lot of people who have ideas but don't know what the product is. It doesn't work well when the customer is not the same as the end user. That is when this model truly fails and no one wants to pay for it. When the customer is the person paying you the money to use your service each week, that's when it works really well. Two of the most common obstacles I run into over and over amongst this list are having to do sign-offs. So essentially, high-fidelity prototypes, someone who's paying you said this is a good idea, and you've got to deliver on that within 6 months, even though it's all going to change anyway. And then overreaction to negative feedback. So sign-off is really frustrating to me on an Agile team. On an Agile team, my sign-off is poking the guy to my left and saying, look at my screen, what do you think? We really encourage the client to work with us. This lean UX model that we do doesn't work if the client isn't there day to day. They're not an equal pair, and they're not part of the team. And we say team, client plus ThoughtWorkers. It's not just ThoughtWorks coming in and taking this offloaded idea and seeing what happens. It really does take true integration. It takes getting your hands dirty, and you need to be part of it. The negative feedback cycle is probably my favorite, because the first time it happens, everyone freaks out. And it just is like, oh great, why did we do this in the first place? The negative feedback cycle during your regular market, outgoing adventures, is actually the most important thing you can do. What it does is it not only tells you, no, don't do that to your idea, but it stops your exploration in that area. When you get a win on an idea, you keep exploring, thinking about how it can get better, and you kind of say, all right, that worked, but how can I one-up it? When you get a no, you actually validate way more than when you get a yes, because the yes doesn't make you stop thinking, and the no is the reality gut check that your product really needs right in that moment. So thanks. That's how we do it.